realized we didn't discuss who was going to start this thing.
Oh yeah.
Welcome. Whoopsies. Welcome to another episode of SVT. I guess since my team is still playing, I'm going to start this thing. My name is Vince. I got Sam and Tyler with me. Gentlemen, how's it
Hey,
going?
What's going on?
yo,
And of course, we have Tim on the ones and twos. Tim, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Let's get into this.
Yeah, sounds great. I'm everybody's kind of had their fun, but now the teams are they're both in Vegas. They're both getting serious. Super serious to the point where the Niners are practicing at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas field, and that field apparently they just took some grass and threw it over the top of the turf, and it's
It's
just
like
really
mush.
it's
It's
terrible.
mush.
And so that's fun. Just another thing to get pissed off about, add it to, just let it rattle in the back of your mind. Maybe make a, nice hard legal tackle, but keep it in between the lines a little bit. Looking at you, Dre Greenlaw. But I'm really excited. I'm cautiously optimistic. Obviously we're going to talk about a couple of other things too. We got some basketball notes, a couple of hockey notes, and even some soccer notes too. Oh hell, even some baseball notes. But obviously it's, the NFL is king here in America, and when your team is in the Super Bowl, you're going to talk about it. So here I am talking about it. The Niners are 2-point favorites going to, actually they're technically the visitor, oddly enough. And that's just because they alternate every other
Yep.
year. So this year is the AFC's turn to be home. That's why the Niners are the visiting team. I mean, we can go into picks right now, but everybody knows where I'm going. I'm picking the Niners. I picked them to win the whole thing at the beginning of the year. They're my favorite football team. I'm not gonna stop picking them now.
Yeah.
Sacrifice some points. Why do that? Hell no. So basically, on our standings, Tyler, you eliminated yourself last week. I
I
mean,
went for
not last week,
broke.
2 weeks ago.
I went for broke.
You
Went for
eliminated
broke.
yourself.
Yeah, you eliminated yourself. Me and Sam are technically tied with points on our points right now. But if I pick the Niners, I get an extra 5 bonus points if they actually win because I picked them preseason.
Cheers, boys.
Sam, your only chance to beat me is to pick the Chiefs and hope you're right. Is that something you're willing to do? Is that something you can stomach doing? Or do you just
Yeah.
pick?
I just want to, for the sake of the argument, yeah, on the pick'ems, I'll take the Chiefs, but I think the 49ers are going to win.
Okay. All right. How about you, Tyler?
Oh, I gotta say in this?
Yeah.
Um,
You want to play along, pretend?
sure. I'll be the little brother who has the controller not plugged in.
Okay.
Um, yeah, of course I'm going. I'm sorry, not Chiefs. Of course I'm going 49ers.
There you go. You're my new favorite. Congratulations. All right. So the reason why what I think is going to actually happen with this game, the Chiefs are the 28th team against the run, and the Niners are a top 5 rushing team. We just have to look back to the last time the Chiefs lost. That was to Sam's Raiders on Christmas Day. I think the Raiders threw one pass after the after the first quarter. They just ran it down their throats.
Runded
You
it.
can they runded it down their throats.
Perfect.
Yeah, nailed it.
Words hard speak.
Stuck the landing like the semi-professional that we all know I am. God damn it. So yeah, that's what I think is going to happen. We're going to get a lot of CMC. I think there's a chance CMC ends up being the MVP. This could be the first time in a while that we have a non-quarterback winning it. And I think CMC is obviously the non-quarterback favorite to do so, because anybody else is going to take some Herculean effort that is possible. I mean, would anybody if the Chiefs end up winning, if it's not Patrick Mahomes, who is it that wins the MVP? I mean, if the Niners win, obviously the quarterback gets a lot of the praise. He's going to be the favorite if the Niners win. But CMC can actually do enough to change the game, and might actually, if he ends up with 2 touchdowns and makes a couple of guys miss, that's a recipe for an MVP, I think,
The
We'll see what happens there.
the last Super Bowl MVP for a running back was Terrell Davis in
Mm,
1997
wow.
for the Broncos.
That's
So
right. One of John Elway's, that was his second to last Super Bowl.
I
Yeah.
think so, yeah. And right before that, just to note it here, the 1993 was Emmitt Smith. So
Right.
it's been a long time.
It's uphill. Yeah. It's an uphill battle, especially for running backs. The running back position is devalued in today's game, but CMC is the exception, not the rule. So
yeah.
That's kind of where I see it going. Maybe I know that the Chiefs they don't score a lot of points, but they also don't allow a lot of points. So this game probably, I would not be terribly surprised if it hits the under,
Yeah.
I don't know what the over under is exactly
When I
at the
last thought it was
moment.
2.5, right? That was a spread,
Well,
but I don't know. I don't know what the
that's a
over
spread.
under is though. Yeah, I don't know what the
But
over
I mean,
under
it's got to
is.
be in the mid 40s probably.
Probably.
I could like I could see the winners winning, the Niners winning 24-20 or something like that, and that's 44 points right there. I don't know what the exact over under is, something like that. But Brock 30, as we call him, is he's gonna get the job done. I think. I like that, Brock 30. So I guess that's kind of how I see it. If anybody else sees anything else they want to add to the game, or good to move on.
I just want to see the Chiefs get crushed, and hopefully Patrick Mahomes and Kelsey have life-ending injuries. No, I'm just kidding.
Jesus.
Real quick,
I just want to see the Chiefs get fucking socked in the face and lose, honestly,
The over under is 47.5. We'll call it
47.5. Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, if the Niners get to 30, they're winning this game. The Chiefs, I don't think, have allowed anybody to get to 30 on offense the entire year. So if the Niners get to 30, I think it's a wrap. It's a done deal. And I think that's the name of the game. Yeah, obviously you want your defense to play well, but you just want to keep scoring. Just keep scoring. Field goals, touchdowns, I don't care. Every chance you get, just put some points on the board.
Right.
Yep.
So I think that's and you don't worry about like these the plays that the Lions were making, the decisions they were making. That's like not putting up the field goals that we talked about a couple weeks ago. I think the Niners will do that in those opportunities and just keep adding on points. And that was the difference, and that ended up being the difference in the game, in the NFC title game, and that it may come down to that in this game. I don't want Patrick Mahomes to have the last shot, I guess, is what I don't want the most. We've seen what he can do with 13 seconds and a timeout, against the Bills.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, it's not over until it's over. The Niners held the Chiefs to 10 points the last time they played 4 years ago through 3.5 quarters, and then suddenly they had 31 points by the end of the game. They just, like, Patrick Mahomes obviously is a scary opponent. He's otherworldly, and you do what you can. You just keep stacking up points. And we talked about possessions. Don't worry about time on the clock so much as it is possessions, and just turn every possession into points for yourself and try to limit the points per possession on that side.
Yeah, I mean, I look, I've already said that I believe the 49ers are going to win, but the playoff Chiefs are different. Mahomes in the playoffs is different. Big Red, Andy Reid is different in the playoffs. So's
the refereeing.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I have my own arguments with that with last year's Super Bowl, but it doesn't matter. That's not how the breaks rolled for me. So, I would just say at this point, I agree with you that if it's under, it's probably going to be under 48. I do believe that. But I'm not really, like, let's say you go into halftime 21 to I don't know, 9, right? And you're up. I still don't think that's a comfortable enough lead.
Oh, it's not. No, absolutely.
Yeah. Like, that's how much I'm nervous about what Big Red can do on that second half adjustments. Now, 49ers also make really great second half adjustments. So
yeah,
it's
all
gonna be really
season.
good.
All season, the Niners have been a much better second half team than they have been in a first half team. So if it's close going into the half, I'm feeling really good. If the Niners are up big going into the half. I'm feeling amazing. If the Niners are down a little bit, I'm still not worried. Hell, I mean, with the NFC title game, the Niners were down 3 scores at the half, and I was concerned, but I hadn't lost hope yet because I knew that they got the possession coming out of halftime. So hopefully Usher doesn't screw up the field too much, and we can keep the streak alive.
I plan on I gotta do it this week, but I plan on doing like a little betting thing, not for money, but just like prop bets and just picking throughout the game. I know there's some online, but I want to kind of do some of my own. So I'll have a fun little prop bet sheet for you guys come Sunday.
Cool.
All right. Sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Right on. Okay, so I guess we're in and out with this. It's just one game to discuss, right? And we don't have anything to talk about what already happened. We can obviously next week we'll break down how the Niners got their 6th ring. I'm putting it out there right now. We'll talk all about that next week. And it's
been
definitely going to happen.
Longest
It's been a
quest
long
for
drought.
6.
29 years. God. That last Super Bowl trophy has like knee pain now, man. It gets really bad hangovers now. God damn. So let's move on to some other notes. We have the coaching carousel has finally come to a halt. Baltimore defensive coordinator Mike McDonald has been hired as the new Seattle head coach, and Dan Quinn is the guy in Washington now. He leaves the Dallas job, stays in the NFC East. That's good news for Tyler. That means Mike Vrabel and Bill Belichick will not be head coaches in the coming season. That's a little surprising. Mike Vrabel's a hell of a coach. Obviously, Bill Belichick is a Hall of Famer, but we'll see what happens. Maybe they just, consult with somebody for a year and then get a head coach job next year. Or maybe Bill calls it quits. I know Mike Vrabel's not done, but
maybe Bill goes to college and wrecks house one more time. Goes back to it.
Maybe he comes over to the Niners and just kind of is just kind of a guy helping out around the house. Maybe he's just just kind of looks up at the board and does like was it Goodwill Hunting, just draws a couple of arrows on the board, and suddenly the Niners go undefeated and never trail the entire season. I don't know.
I do want to touch base that I was excited about Washington hiring Dan Quinn because Dan Quinn, to me, I don't think he's there's a lot better head coaching candidates out there. I should say that. Let's be nice to an extent. And the fact that his OC that was in running to be with him was going to be UCLA's head coach.
Kelly.
Chip Kelly was in the running to be the OC, and then they gave it to Cliff, as you put, Dingleberry. So
Cliff Dingleberry.
Yeah,
you know what? You dodged a bullet, man. You dodged a bullet.
We all did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm excited for it, man. That means that Washington is still going to be rebuilding for the next foreseeable 4 years.
Yeah, they're years away. I actually, with Kingsbury going to Washington, I can actually see them trading up to 1. So I, because I think they would want to get Caleb Williams. I think that's the whole point of probably going after Kingsbury. Is I can actually see them trading with Chicago, moving up 1 spot, guaranteeing them the quarterback that they want. If I'm Chicago, that's the trade that I would do. I would move down 1 spot.
Yeah, and you're going to get probably another first rounder next year, and
exactly, and then you
probably throw in like a second rounder and a third or something like that.
Depending on who you really want, if you feel like Justin Fields is a guy you're gonna go with next year, you could trade down again and possibly have multiple first-round draft picks this year and next year. And you're surrounding the quarterback with a lot of young talent, or maybe you get a quarterback later in the round, or maybe you trade Justin Fields. I don't know. But the world is your oyster, Chicago.
Yeah. It's actually Carolina's oyster that they're holding, oddly enough,
Well,
Carolina really shit the bed on that, and it's gonna be rough for a while. I do not envy anybody working in that building. That's gonna be a rough one
Right.
going forward. So a couple of one other note for the NFL at least. The Eagles, your boys, they're gonna host a game in Sao Paulo, Brazil, an opening weekend for next season. The game is gonna be on Friday, so you
I
won't get the
do.
Thursday night game. That'll be the Super Bowl winner probably.
Yeah.
But Friday, so you're gonna get the first game that isn't the Super Bowl champion.
Yeah, I mean, I like this. I think it's great for, fans around the world that love to watch it. I just kind of wish it wasn't a scheduled game, more like an exhibition game would be more, I guess, up my alley because you gotta imagine the travel that they have to do and all that fun stuff, and just I mean, there's London series. I just kind of wish it wasn't in an impactful game that meant for the season, but it is beginning. It is the first game of the season, so I guess it's not gonna make too much of a difference. But
Right, and it's a Friday. You get a couple extra days travel. You're still staying in this hemisphere,
it's
so
true.
you're just a couple
Yeah.
hours ahead of normal. So, yeah, it shouldn't be too terrible. On the jet lag at least. Like the jet lag is really like traveling time zones. That's really where it gets you. It's not so much um north and south. It's more of an east
Yeah,
west problem. So
absolutely. And
yeah.
one more coaching hire was
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Luke Getsy. Very exciting.
The
Gets
Raiders
the job.
get see their guy.
Yeah, so apparently Cliff Kingsbury he ended up backing out of the Raiders deal because they offered him a 2-year contract and he wanted a 3-year guarantee. So that was the hang up on the contract. So obviously he moves on to Washington, and then the Raiders turned their attention to Luke Getsy, who was their number 2 guy. And it's actually been a kind of like a divisive amongst Raider fans. They're debating if this is a good hire or a bad hire. I feel kind of split. He, as far as previous offensive coordinators that Luke Getsy has worked with and the coaching tree he comes from, you get kind of excited for it, but at the same time, he didn't really do much in Chicago, and it's kind of hard to say was that he inherited a lot of these players. He inherited Justin Fields, who struggled passing the ball, struggled with injuries, showed signs of improvement. Interesting statistic was the ground game was actually really good. So the Bears actually ran the ball pretty well with Getsy, but during those 2 years, guess who the leading rusher was? So it's a little deceiving.
Justin Fields.
Yeah. So it's a little deceiving. But the opinion of him in coaching circles is that he's actually a really good coach. He's a good communicator. And so it's kind of like being compared to Patrick Graham when he got hired by the Raiders as defensive coordinator. He was coming off of the New York Giants gig, and they didn't really have they did well, I think, his first season, and then kind of declined. But it wasn't because of the agreement was it wasn't because of his coaching. It was because of personnel, that they didn't really have players. Like, they didn't really have stars to execute the plays. So we kind of see Patrick Graham has been able to cook a little bit with some of these ingredients on the Raiders defense. He's Max Crosby, and it looks like Malcolm Kuntz is coming along, and some other guys are coming along that they've drafted. So we'll see. I think it's kind of like a lukewarm hire at this time. I mean, it just kind of, you got to kind of wait and see what it looks like, no matter who the hire was. Cliff Kingsbury people had their doubts about him coming over here because it wasn't like the Cardinals offense was blowing the lid off of things. Like, there was questionable things there too. I think,
Oh yeah.
So you don't really know. I'm just really glad we didn't get Chip Kelly either. So at least we have somebody that can run a pro offense and has a relationship with Devontae Adams. So I think that's like a good sign. He's worked with Matt LaFleur, who has he was the wide receiver coach for Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. So we'll see. We'll see.
Right on. All right. Any other notes in football? I don't have any. Just kind of Yeah. All right. So let's turn our attention to basketball. So the Warriors, they win 2 out of 3 games over the last week. They're currently playing in Brooklyn right now. They're excuse me, NBC Sports Bay Area is not showing me the score right now. That's why I keep turning my head back to try to see it. But they get the win versus Philly. They get the win at Memphis. They lose in overtime, wasting a Steph Curry 60-point game at Atlanta. Right now they're at Brooklyn. It's at halftime. They're down 6. It's 49-43. Don't like that. uh yeah,
Yeah,
so
the game on Saturday, the Atlanta
Mhm.
game, that was rough. And it
Yeah.
but I do want to stress how amazing Steph Curry is. I mean, he's scored 60 points. He's 35 years old,
Only
which
Kobe's done that at a later age.
exactly, yeah. I think Kobe did it at 37.
Yeah, it was his final game too.
So what makes this so impressive is that they played in Memphis the night before. They flew in and got in at 3 a.m. Barely had a shoot. I don't even think they had a shoot around. And then they went and played this game, and Steph Curry dropped 60 points. I mean, you're talking an NBA player whose regiment of sleeping and making sure they're tip top shape. He did all this on probably about what we would argue going to work after 2.5 hours of sleep. Like that's probably how his body felt, and he dropped 60 points. So the fact
Right.
they lost that game, I mean, I would say Clay shot them out of the building. Kaminga getting into foul trouble and some dumb foul calls being called didn't really help either. But to say it was spoiled, yeah, I guess it was. But in reality, what we witnessed, I think it's undertoning notes that need to be ironed out there
Right.
of
No,
how
yeah,
impressive
yeah.
it really
Cushion it
was.
a little bit for sure, for sure.
Yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, that it's a rough it's kind of a rough season that keeps being rough. They're 4 games under 500. They're 12th in the West. They're only a game and a half out of the play-in tournament though.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you're right there. They're we're about to start the third quarter, it looks like. Yeah. So, I mean, we'll see how that goes the rest of the way. Tell us a little bit about you went to the game on Tuesday, right, against Philly?
Yeah, that was a good game. Unfortunately, Embiid got hurt.
That was right near the end too, though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kaminga landed on his knee and definitely hyperextended it, and now he's going to get surgery on
Mhm.
his knee now. So I don't know if it's torn or what the situation may be, but surgery's not a good thing, especially when you're a
Yeah.
big man. But it
That
was
basically ends his shot at defending his title because of the 65 game rule as well.
correct. Yeah. Um, it was fun, man. That stadium is a beautiful, beautiful stadium. I liked how easy accessible things were as far as like if you want to go get a drink and go get some food, like everything was really accessible. It's a great stadium.
Absolutely.
If you don't go there for a basketball game, but you go there for like a concert or something else, go check it out. It's worth it. Now, as far as the crowd goes, man, it does not compare. Like it was
Right.
getting loud towards the end. The loudest it got was when that game was getting close and Embiid was shooting free throws and they were trying to boo him. Like that's the loudest I heard. And even then, I was like, man,
Right.
does
It's
not
not the
compare.
same. It's not the same as Roracle
Yeah,
for sure. But
does not.
that's kind of what happened. A lot of the Oakland fans got priced out a little bit with the move across the bay.
And I anyone who's like, oh, you priced out the true fans. I'm sorry, but if you wanted to watch these NBA players, play on your same team, you're gonna get priced out no matter what. Like
That's true.
it costs money to keep these
Sooner
guys.
or later. I mean, it wasn't cheap to go at the end of the Oakland days either.
Yep.
That's not what I was trying to imply at all.
No, no,
But
no. I
yeah,
just I see some of this online. I'm like, guys, you do understand you got to see arguably one of the greatest team ever assembled because Steph Curry had a team friendly contract. Like that doesn't happen. You do
right.
not get Kevin Durant if that doesn't happen. But that being
Yeah.
said, you want to keep these players, ticket prices have to go up in order to pay these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so let's see, upcoming games. They're at Philly on Wednesday. They're at Indiana on Thursday. I'm still reading it like football. Saturday versus Phoenix, and then Monday they're at Utah. And so the upcoming games, got to win them all at this point. You sweep those, you're back at 500.
Yeah,
That's what we
this
need to look
is
at.
is this right? This is right. This is right. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so next week, obviously we have the Super Bowl this weekend. Next week is the NBA All-Star.
Right. The
So
fall.
next,
Yeah. Following after that, after the Monday. Yeah. There's a couple more games there, but yeah.
yeah. So much needed rest. Play hard. I put this in here last minute. I'm gonna go with this one first. So Adrian Griffin was named the East head coach for the All-Star game. Awkward. He got fired.
Right.
So Doc Rivers is going to replace him. But Doc Rivers did say that any kind of money compensation that was going to go to him, he's going to give it to Adrian Griffin. He's not going to accept the money. So,
Yeah. Doc's got money. Doc's
yeah,
fine.
yeah,
Doc is set. He's not doing this for money now at this point. Yeah.
yeah. One thing I want to note too. I mean, obviously, if I tune into the All-Star game, cool. You know, it's more or less the fourth quarter that you really want to tune into, anyways. It's the most fun
Mhm.
part. But in the 3-point contest, local Walnut Creek girl, Sabrina Ionescu, will be challenging Steph in the 3-point contest. And you
Love
could
it.
bet on that. I don't know why
fucking
you
love
could
it.
bet on that, but you could bet on it.
And she's doing it from the NBA range with the NBA ball as well. Too.
Yeah,
she,
exactly.
She said, "I want no excuses." You know,
Yeah,
like
I love
so.
it.
If she wins, she's gonna beat Steph on an even playing surface. She's capable of doing it, man.
Yep.
I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. I'm just saying she's got the skill set to do it, and I think that's going to be fun. That might be the highlight of the entire All-Star weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I genuinely don't give a damn about the game. The dunk contest is very like.
Yeah. There's only been one good one in the past like 10 years, and that was the Zach LaVine one.
And Aaron Gordon, yeah.
Yeah.
Getting robbed at that point. Yeah. So yeah, the 3-point contest is the one that catches the attention anyway. So this is just extra eyes and just a lot of excitement charged into what is already the best part of the weekend. So really looking forward to that.
Yeah. So she's always looked up to Steph. So this is more than just a 3-point contest for her. This is playing with her idol against her idol. So it should be fun. Love it. What's the score?
So are the Warriors going to trade Wiggins or not?
It is. Well, the score is tied at 54 right now. Brooklyn is at the line shooting free throws.
They're not. If they are, like I said today in our group chat, that if they are going to trade them, Mavs make the most sense because of the capital and expiring contracts that they could give out to the Warriors. Warriors cannot take on a contract. They can't do it.
Yeah.
So it has to be an expiring contract. It had to be like a Chris Paul, essentially.
Yeah, I just think they're stuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
they're going to make another run.
Playing Brooklyn is a good example. I mean, Brooklyn is tall. I mean, all of them: Claxton, Jordan, drawing the blank on the kid that guarded Steph that was with the Suns too. But anyways, they're all tall and long. So, and I think that is where I see the NBA going. You know, for a while it was the trend of small ball lineups and small guards running the big man off the court. Well, now you got these like athletic, they can run with the small guards. May not be able to guard them as efficiently, but they can keep up with them. What Brooklyn's doing at that roster, I know it's a young roster. I know they're challenging as far as their scheduling goes and where they're seating at right now, but that is a promising team. And I think that's the way the NBA is going to go if you look at that Brooklyn team.
Yeah. So just, just win, guys. Win. Get some W's on the board. Let's go. All right. I don't know what else to say. That's, that puts the button on that one. We're actually motoring through this. It's easy when it's, there's no games to talk about in the past for football, and we only have the one going forward.
The last topic of the day is going to make sure we hit that hour mark.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. I had no worry. We're gonna move right along to hockey. We'll keep an eye on the Warriors game. Right now, it's still a close one. Obviously, third quarter, 8 minutes left, so still plenty of time in that one. And we'll just we'll move on to hockey. The Sharks only played 2 games this past week. Tyler was correct on the win of the week. And now Tyler is in front by a half a game over me on win of the week. They get the win against Seattle, and then they lose in overtime at Anaheim. Almost had it for me and Sam with the win of the week there, but fall just short. They're currently in 8th in the Pacific, but 15th in the West. They are they are ahead of Chicago, so that's good.
Connor Bedard, who
they don't have any games until Valentine's Day, so they're on their week-long break has hit right after the All-Star break, which I think is pretty fortunate.
Yeah,
That's excellent timing. You basically get an extra 4 days for everybody that's not Tomas Hurdle, and he was having fun at the game anyway. He was on Justin Bieber's team after like 4 years ago at the All Star game wearing a beaver mask while doing the skills competition. So that was a lot of fun. A little full
Nice.
circle moment there.
Nice.
Yeah, Gritty is a menace. Okay.
I love Gritty.
Gritty's great.
Top 5 mascots.
Yeah, 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 right behind Sharky. My boy. Let's see some other hockey notes. The Kings fired Todd McClelland. Jim Hiller is going to serve as interim head coach for the remainder of the season.
Good.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks for Todd. Todd's a hell of a coach. But I mean, the Kings started falling apart, and
I still feel a little spiteful that he went to the Kings shortly
well,
after
I mean,
with us.
well, no, he went to.
He went to Jersey.
No. He was up in Edmonton for a while,
That's
and
right.
then found his way down. I don't, I don't begrudge anybody, like, at this point. If there was a team in between, like if he went straight there, like Peter DeBoer going straight.
That's
to
who
Vegas,
I'm thinking of. That's
that one kind of stung a bit. That one stings, but I mean, there's enough, and also there's enough distance between Todd McClelland's years with San Jose, so I don't begrudge him. I think he might be done for a little while as a head coach. He might have to be an assistant for somebody for a couple of years before he gets another shot at it. But hockey has this habit of having the same 40 guys competing for 32 jobs. So
Yep.
We'll see. And it's just, it's a cycle. He's part of that cycle now. So he might have to wait a little bit, but he'll get another shot. I'm fairly certain.
I agree.
The NHL players are going to return to the Olympics in 2026. It'll be the first time that they've been there since 2014. So that's going to be fun to see. And also they're going to be there in 2030 as well. So they got 2 years out of this deal.
Fortunately, we won't get a USA versus Russia. We'll get a USA versus Olympic players.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Russia was caught doping heavily over all programs. So Russia as an Olympic nation, they got the ban. They got the hammer. Justifiably so. So all right, here comes the rough part. So back in 2018, the World Juniors, there was an incident where a woman was assaulted allegedly, and the London, Ontario Police Department are finally bringing charges. 6 years later, 5 current and former NHLers are basically had to report to London, Ontario. Those players are Dylan Dubé, Cal Foote, Alex Formenton, Carter Hart, and Michael McLeod. McLeod. I got tongue twisted there. It's a terrible fucking story. I hate it. I won't go into the details. You can search for those; they're readily available. But this is obviously a huge situation. It was a huge scandal when it first happened. And they weren't pressing charges, and basically the entire Canada like hockey structure got shaken up because of this, because they were covering up for all of it. And you have active players. The big one is Hart. He's that's a huge name, Carter Hart, that Philadelphia lost there. So we're gonna see how this shakes out. I hope justice prevails is what I want to see happen. And that's obviously a terrible story. Please look into it further. I'm not equipped to discuss it further. I don't have enough of the information in the background, but I thought it was important to bring up at least, and everybody can kind of check out and go over the details on their own.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna
one thing about the Olympics, Jacob actually in our chat, hi Jacob, how's it going? He said, have y'all seen that Peter Thiel is trying to have an all doping Olympics? I did see that. The roid rage that happens when there's a bad call. Oh, I don't want to see that. God, that's gonna be interesting. I kind of get the appeal. Like I can see this working. Unfortunately, I know steroids are bad and you really shouldn't be doing them, and they they really have long-term effects that are bad. But god damn, I could really see this working out a lot better than it has any right to. And I kind of want to see how it shakes down. Peter Thiel's kind of a badman, but I mean, somebody was going to make money off of this idea eventually. We had made jokes about it. Yeah, everybody has made jokes about in all steroids baseball league or something like that. And when the
I love
steroid era was
steroids.
happening, um,
They're
yeah,
great.
Let's clip that one for the internet.
yeah,
I
yeah.
love
Save that.
steroids. I still say that the Olympics should have an average Joe competing against Olympians so we can understand the difference.
Oh, totally. No,
Like
absolutely.
I want like a guy like me
Yeah.
trying to do track and field.
Yeah, I was actually about to say I want to see what it looks like when I do shot put versus somebody who's kind of built similarly to me but all muscle and knows what the hell they're doing. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the ticket. Like you find somebody who kind of looks like them but is definitely a regular average Joe. Like for example, for the marathon, have my brother run it and just compare the times. For example, my brother runs marathons. He's not the fastest, but somebody who's capable of doing the event. I'm capable of launching a shot put. I did it a couple of times a long time ago. I'm not any good, but it's kind of fun to see how it works, how it would work. That's the ticket. We've talked about that before too, and I think Tyler, you're onto something. We need to see it.
Like
I
let's
agree.
let's have an average Joe run against Usain Bolt. Let's see what that.
Yeah,
Let's just see what that looks like.
yeah.
But the normal guy's like doped up.
There, we took the regular
The
guy,
cream in the clear.
gave him 3 months with all the anabolics, and just go to town and see what happens, see what he can do. No.
Oh
Yeah.
man.
Oh damn.
Pay-per-view
Oh,
event. If he dies, he dies.
yeah.
I would love to see like some doped up Joe Schmo get into like a boxing ring with like elderly Mike Tyson. See what happens. See
Yeah.
what happens. You know what? You know what they need to bring back though? This is off topic, but you know what they need to bring back? Remember back in the day, I think it was on FX, it might have been some other show, other channel, was the Tough Man series where they would just get like Joe Schmoes into a boxing ring and then they would just box. They need to bring that back. That was a great show. They used to have like police officers versus firefighters, and then they would
Oh,
have
okay.
they might have a special where like you have a gripe with somebody so you challenge them and you get to fight them in the ring. They need to do that, but as like a traveling show. You go to each town and it's called Town Badass. Who's the town badass?
Now
We're gonna have a tournament.
We're straying into Letterkenny here territory here a little bit. I don't
Oh,
feel
I've never
like
seen
fighting Wayne.
Oh, great.
Highly recommend anybody out
Okay.
there go watch Letterkenny. It's on
Yeah.
Hulu. Not a sponsor, but we would
Unless you
love
want
to
to.
be
Could.
one. Yeah, we could. We would absolutely be a sponsor if you
But you
are
could.
willing and able. Hulu. Okay, let's move over to the pitch. Wrexham, they kind of had a rough one at Salford City. What happened,
Yeah.
Tyler?
Just lost 3-1. I think Andy Cannon was the only one who scored a goal. Look, they made some moves. The transfer window has gone and passed, but they've acquired another striker. Not anything that we were kind of talking about or alluding to. So they've acquired another right wing back. They've released a couple of guys that they couldn't get on a loan transfer. So look, I don't know if these moves are really that much of a ground shaking type of move, but they got to figure out something. They got to figure out quick because right now they're 15, 7, and 6, and they're in fourth place. And I think they're 7 or 6 points away from first. So that's at least 2 games minimum. So up next is Bradford City. So they can get a little bit of a rebound here coming up here. So still some time, but
absolutely.
clock is
Back to the
ticking.
comments. Jacob talking great show. Letterkenny and Shorzy is hilarious too. Co-signed 100%. Excellent shows, both of them, and they are connected. It's a the Letterkenny cinematic universe, the
Yeah.
LCU. Definitely worth your time. I would definitely start with Letterkenny, and then you can watch Shorzy after the fact, after you're done with Letterkenny, because the stories kind of diverge toward the end of
Okay.
the Letterkenny
Wasn't
series. But
Letterkenny like wasn't that like a YouTube series and then it got a
it's
show, right?
yeah, it was like a small like Canadian
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
series,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then yeah, that and they found their way to Crave, which is Canadian streaming, and then Hulu picked them up, and so now it's, they got a little bit more money behind them. So
Yeah.
yeah, great show, great show. Okay, so there's Wrexham. Hopefully these moves work out for them, and we'll see them, back up into the top three, and then don't have to worry about a play-in tournament.
Yep.
Get to the next level. World Cup 2026 news. They've announced the dates and the sites officially for the tournament. The U.S. men's national team will play their group stage games at Los Angeles first on the 12th, then at Seattle on the 19th, and then back down to LA on the 25th. So it's all West Coast for the U.S. men's national team. I think, I get that a lot of people are upset that there's nothing in the East Coast for the team, but that circles back to the travel. You want to keep them all in the same time zone, I think, as much as possible. And you got two excellent venues. I wish they would have done three different ones, but it is what it is, and that's fine. It's the group stages, and I'm sure if they advance out of the group stages, they'll find their way further and further east as we go. So the final is going to be held at MetLife Stadium in New Jersey. That's where the Giants and the Jets play. For those who are uninitiated, that'll happen on July 19th. Dallas is going to host the most games with 9 in total.
Jerry
So,
World.
yeah, that's Jerry World. Get a lot of money. You can get 100,000 people in there. That's a lot of money. A lot of money. It makes sense. You're going to put a lot of games in that stadium. Levi's Stadium is going to host 6 games in total on the 13th, 16th, 19th, 22nd, 25th, and then those are all group stage games. And then July 1st, Canada Day, they'll host a round of 32. And so those are your opportunities 2.5 years from now to go watch World Cup soccer. And I'm going to one of these games. Basically, the grave is the only thing stopping me from going. That's it. I'm really looking forward to seeing a World Cup game in our house.
Yeah, I want to go. I think Venezuela is playing a match over there. We have a friend that's really into it. I don't know if he'll be around this time, but we had talked about maybe going to Levi Stadium to watch that game. So that's on my circled list here to go check out here.
Absolutely, yeah. So I mean, obviously those are 2.5 years away, and there's probably going to be a drawing of some kind or whatever. But if there's not, I think Levi's holds close to 70,000 people. I'm sure there's gonna, especially with USA not being here, not being playing in that stadium. There's gonna
Right.
be plenty of opportunities to see a match there. Just find a country that you do like that isn't USA and go there. Go watch that one. Have some fun.
I was gonna ask you. We haven't seen really any friendlies since Berhalter's taken back over, but
Mhm.
how are you feeling about it? Like with him taking over?
Is Jurgen Klopp available yet? Fuck.
Oh man, I just you made me think about it when you were saying World Cup here that I'm not really sold we're gonna get out of the first bracket
Yeah,
here.
I mean, we'll see what happens. I like the skill. I'll say
Yeah.
I like the skill players. I like that a lot of them are playing in Europe. Gio Reyna just got transferred to Nottingham Forest in the Premiership. So
Well, speaking of Nottingham, our goalie he got demoted. They just got another goalie, so
yeah,
that doesn't
well,
bode well that we're using
yeah,
that
I'd
guy.
like to see. I'd like to see him get some more playing time too. But it is it. If you're
No,
gonna be the best, you got to play against the best.
he
And
he really hasn't been that great. He's
yeah,
been decent, but the straw that broke the camel's back was the last match when he got nutmegged for a goal on the
yeah,
corner, and
yeah.
he lost his job after that.
Yeah, I
So,
mean, he's a good enough keeper that he's gonna start some more games. Maybe not for Nottingham Forest, but obviously the transfer window is closed, so he's
yeah.
there for the rest of the season. But it's early 2024 right now. The World Cup is in 2026. He's gonna play between now and then. I'm pretty sure. He'll find his way back onto the pitch.
Yeah.
Got some time to work it out. And goalie is one of those weird things, man. Goalkeepers, that is like there's a mentality there. Just true psychopaths, and sometimes it's going good, and then whatever you get the yips sometimes.
Yeah.
And sometimes you find your way back, sometimes you don't. Uh, Goalkeeper is weird. It's a weird position. Only the oddest of oddballs take it up professionally. So I'm sure he'll be fine. And if he's not, somebody else will step up, and that's just kind of the way it goes. My dad just popped into the chat saying Germany. If Deutschland is playing at Levi's, I haven't checked the schedule yet. I might be down to see that one. That's a team that is probably going to be an early favorite, one of the favorites.
Yeah, I'd be interested.
Yeah. I mean, any number of teams. We got 12 of them to choose from. So and 10 of them are already assigned. I just didn't look it up because I was distracted doing other things like working. Okay, so I think that'll cover it for your soccer talk. Let's head over to baseball. We got a few notes here. The Royals, the low budget Royals extend Bobby Witt Jr. to an 11-year, $288.7 million guaranteed contract. I thought poor teams couldn't do that. That's what I was told. That sounds great. Like, listen, I'm happy for the Royals fans. They paid somebody more than $100 million. I think that's the first time that's ever happened in their franchise history.
I didn't even do that. Sorry. Yeah, I think the Royals the Royals have like 45 draft picks that they could use for the next like foreseeable 7 years. So they better have some money because they have probably the most cap.
They've got like 3 different plans to build a new stadium to replace Kauffman Stadium. So I mean they're serious about staying in the city. They're serious about like trying to keep homegrown talent. This is a no-brainer. Any idiot running a franchise should be able to see that you extend your popular good players, and then the fans can continue to trust and build relationships with that player. And the money keeps returning in and on itself.
Exactly. That's what I meant to do. Yeah, I mean, if only an ownership would, spend that way.
If only.
Which ownership?
If only.
I'll tell you what. Yeah.
Baltimore's turned the new page here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you know what?
Super excited for Baltimore.
Go Baltimore fan.
That's
Good
right.
them.
The Angelos family is fucking gone.
God.
There's your F-bomb. It's hella late.
Jeez.
Yeah,
so
the
the Baltimore
witch is
Orioles
fucking
are
dead.
sold. The Angelos family sold to David Rubenstein of Baltimore, a local billionaire.
Guy that loves the team.
And then he goes out and orders his front office, go get Corbin Burns.
Pay the man.
Jesus. Like, can you?
Their window is open.
If Baltimore starts spending right now on this window, Jesus,
Yep,
Jesus, because that team is loaded right now.
The window is open for Baltimore. This is their time.
And I heard part of the ownership group, Cal Ripken is actually part of the ownership group.
That's excellent.
So good for them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm actually really happy for the Baltimore fan, the Oriole fans, because they've been kind of going through a similar thing with the A's, just shit ownership. I know we got more news on the A's coming up with Nevada too.
Yeah.
I saw today that the Anaheim Angels, this was on MLB Network Radio, that apparently Artie Moreno is getting ready to sell the Anaheim Angels. So there's that process is starting. So they're not really looking to add anybody to their team.
Yeah.
They don't want to extend anybody. So the process is probably starting already.
Right. But I mean, at least that ownership has signed people in the past. They have kept
Yeah.
the best player in baseball, Mike Trout. He's gone through some injuries in recent years, but he's still an all-world talent. And at least they did sign him to that massive contract.
Yeah.
And he's worth it. He's worth that contract. If you're able to, I don't know, put anybody of substance around him.
It's just crazy that you had Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani and you never made the playoffs.
I know, right? That's
that's
that's poor front office, really. Like, outside of being able to get those two guys, like, nobody can pitch there. What the hell?
I would argue, I mean, it was maybe not so much last year, but it was probably one of the easier divisions to, get into the wild card, at least, because you knew that the Texas was going, I mean, the Houston was going to win it, but maybe you get into a wild card position. It wasn't like the West was the best team in all of baseball, or at least the best division in all of baseball.
Yeah, I mean, you have doormats like the A's
Yeah.
there. Seattle is a perennial pretender.
Yeah.
Texas got the job done last year, but before last year, they were
hot garbage.
Special,
That's what I'm saying. Like, outside of last year, but your window was there, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so that's just that's dereliction of duty. That's negligence.
Did you hear the rumor? Part. Did you hear the rumor of the potential buyer of the Anaheim Angels?
No, who? Is it Joe?
Joe.
No.
Oh,
a different basketball owner.
Vivek?
No.
Who is that?
Mark Cuban.
Oh, that would make sense. He sold off the majorities of his team. Yeah.
Yeah, he's got some extra cash floating him around.
There's rumors that he would. I guess he's been trying to get into baseball in NFL. So
yeah,
actually, I think that'd be kind of cool. Actually,
that's an owner that cares.
Yeah,
I mean,
I actually think
he's many things. You can't say he doesn't care.
Right. I mean, you can't say he doesn't want to win.
He wants to win. He always he's, from what I understand, he's always taking care of his players.
Yep.
I haven't seen it up close. People just don't like him because he's there and he talks a lot.
Well, that's
annoying.
The what's his name? Deontay West, or I think that's his name, Deontay West, who had basically a episode because he's had a mental breakdown and was homeless walking on the streets, and Mark Cuban saw him and put him in his car and took care of him for a few days. That's what owner does that. I will say that he will actually be at the games, unlike certain owners, but he will be at every game, which should be refreshing because I don't know many owners who go to their games.
Yeah, not in baseball at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would be an upgrade to be sure. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, here it comes. We already have it in the chat by my dad. #FJF. Fuck John Fisher. We can what if John Fisher sold to a local billionaire? If only. The Nevada Teachers Union is suing the state and the governor over the legislation that passed that got the funding, the $380 million. So that's in play. They're also trying to get that ballot measure across. They still have about 4 months to get over 100,000 signatures throughout the entire state.
Vince,
not an easy task, but definitely doable, I think.
Vince, there's no ballpark design. It doesn't exist.
Well, did you guys hear that? So John Fisher, at this stupid meeting where nobody clapped or anything, said that he's waiting on the Bally to do their renderings and design.
Bally turned around.
Bally says, "Nah, motherfucker, we're waiting on the A's." Like the CEO of Bally was like, "We're waiting on
you." It's the Spider-Man pointing meme.
So, and Bally's themselves is a shit show.
So
they got all kinds of financial problems right now.
Exactly. The thing is if Bally, so apparently I think it's in March or April, there's actually going to be a decommissioning, take down the Trop. They're going to be taking that down.
Yeah,
and basically
April 1st is their last day.
Correct. The Trop is now on a clock. And for Bally, they need something happening on that site ASAP, because it's going to cost them money a lot of money to just have that land sitting there. All the while they're developing, I think they're developing a huge ass hotel. I want to say in Chicago or maybe New Jersey or something like that.
It was Chicago was a
But they're
problem.
developing a huge property in Chicago, and that is like going. So now they, if the A's are going to be a business partner, they really need the A's to have their ducks in a row. And that, that's what's scary, guys, is that's one thing that we know that John Fisher has is his ducks are always in a row.
I will say that I think it was Casey Pratt was saying that by I want to say he said April or June, like they have to have
They
something.
have to have a deal.
Otherwise, Bally is just gonna cut out of the deal and be like,
Right.
we didn't get anything, and I like to your point,
have to move. They
I
have
need
to
to
move.
make money off of this land.
Yeah,
Right.
it is go time. Like
The other
like,
thing that
yeah.
Casey Pratt said is he heard some smoke about the A's just may not exist for a couple
Yeah,
of
for like 3 years. You may
so
even
he
have the
didn't
A's.
report on it because he was like, that's crazy. And then now it's like being reported on by baseball people.
The station in Sacramento broke that news. The radio
Yeah.
station up there. Yeah.
Yeah, Foul Territory brought it out. They were talking about it.
It's ridiculous.
Can you imagine? Like, I don't understand how the owners. I mean, I get it. They have money. They don't really give a shit. They blah 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 money. But to have a commissioner who has fumbled this every single step of the way, you need expansion teams. You're gonna take an established team away before you even had an expansion team. You needed one like 20 years ago. Like, what are you doing?
It's a mess. Yeah. I mean, it is just it's a joke. I mean, it's like, I don't know.
It is the clownest of clown shows is what it is.
This is like, I don't know nobody knows how it's going to end, but it's far from over because now Las Vegas is not a guarantee.
Yep.
Did you really, as an ownership group, did you really exhaust everything in Oakland because you own half the current site? So why aren't you even negotiating buying the other half of the current site from the city of Oakland? The JPA is gone. So this issue with the Joint Powers Association, the city of Oakland and the county owning it, and then, the Raiders, the A's, the Warriors, like that knot is kind of undone to a degree. It's really the A's and the city. So why aren't we negotiating a sale of land contingent on you're going to stay in Oakland and build there? So did you really exhaust everything? So I'm not really sure how MLB could continue to say that, John Fisher did everything in his power to stay in Oakland, because that's false. The other thing is the Howard Terminal site. I think they have until I want to say the end of the year of this year to, all of the permitting, the environmental impact report, all of that goes away. And if nobody comes in and tries to develop this, then all of the progress is lost, is what I heard just a few days ago. So like, it won't be developed at all by anyone.
I mean, unless they start doing something with it.
Unless somebody starts doing something with it.
The arc storyline of our emotions with this whole A's thing, like we were sad, depressed, to angry, upset, to at this point, I'm just laughing my ass off because now it's just a comedy show at this point.
Well, the thing that as a citizen that pisses me off is he's going to hold up the development on the current site and held up development at the water site on the shoreline. Like this guy, the city of Oakland needs income. They need some type, whether it's the A's or someone else. Like shit or get off the pot. People live here. And we need economic development in this city. Whether you like the city of Oakland or not, whatever political affiliation, it doesn't matter. The city needs to move forward. The city has to move on. And we can point fingers at politicians and say what we like and don't like, whatever. I got my gripes. But you have a billionaire holding a city hostage. It's bullshit. You
Mhm.
know, he doesn't deserve to own a team. He doesn't deserve to fucking be part of the region. You know, this guy's a silver spoon. He's a fucking Giants fan. He still goes to the Giants games and Giants stuff. Like, get this fucking guy out of here. Talking about putting your team in a minor league ballpark in Utah or Sacramento. You're a fucking clown. God, it gets me
God.
so mad.
Our money's not good enough.
God.
Our money's not good enough. That's what it comes down to.
And
The nearly $1 billion of infrastructure money that Oakland was able to attain, that's not good enough. Because
You could have
it's-
temporarily scaled down the site temporarily
yeah,
Mhm.
and just said, "Hey, man, we're only going to develop the ballpark and a little bit around it." And there you just close the gap of what the 80 million, $90 million they were difference on.
it's
could have
been
really-
reported now that it's even less. That it was even
I
less.
thought it
now.
was something like, I thought I seen something that was like 47, 48 million.
Yeah.
And so it's a fucking joke, man. He's a clown. He's MLB poor. I don't think he has the money to really do anything. You're seeing that he's selling his Gap stock. I don't think he has the money, man. I don't think he has the liquid assets to do anything. And that's why he's going around to whatever city begging for money. And, so
And Utah
just
was
sad.
really happy to see him too.
well,
they-
no,
There's the people that put up the sign,
Yeah.
on the Utah wants the A's or whatever. I'm like, okay,
so that was
have
all
them.
that was all funded by the guy trying to get an expansion team. So I'm
Right.
not knocking Utah because I think baseball would do well there in reality. I think it would.
Probably.
I think it's
It
gonna be
probably
better
would.
than what Colorado's producing. I'll tell you that. But you still got to deal with John Fisher. So I don't care if they go to Utah, right? Like if that deal gets done, fine. But you got to deal with John Fisher. Like that is
But
your
the thing
problem.
is too is like now he's trying to sell part of the A's at a $2+ billion valuation
Yeah,
to
it's
Vegas billionaires. Well, why the fuck aren't you trying to sell a stake to a Bay Area billionaire? Like, did you really honestly exhaust all options in the Bay Area? You didn't. You're lying. You're a liar.
Yeah.
Like, he lied. And then you got the fucking weasel,
Mhm.
Dave Cavill, like just a fucking sleazy, slimy, shitty human being. Like then you can't the PR person can't even make a fucking appearance. Instead, you're running the baseball manager out there to do everything for you.
hold on.
Still.
You can't even do a fan fest for your last year on the contract books to play at the stadium. The fans have to do it.
Yeah. I mean, and honestly, shame on Dave Cavill. The way he came in, the energy, we're gonna get this done. Like he was a salesman, he was trying to sell it or whatever. But there was a lot of people that really genuinely believed him because he was feeding the citizens, the A's fans, a bit of hopium for the first time. Because before he came in, it was, oh, they're gonna move to San Jose, oh, they're gonna move to Fremont. This was the first time that it was, okay, we're going to stay here in Oakland. We're going to get something done. That was the first bit of you're going to try to make Oakland work in 2 decades, And so then to, 3 years later, turn around and pull the rug and say, we're going to, dual pathway with Vegas. And it's disgusting. I've never, as soon as he announced the dual pathways, I had not been that livid in a long time. And then just everything new that came out of that afterwards. I've never wanted to set somebody's car on fire more. It's just been nonstop with this fucking asshole.
Mike is in the chat, says he has a buddy up in Portland that says he would love the A's to be up there. The thing is no matter where the A's go, you're going to deal with John Fisher. So let's say he goes to Portland. Okay, great. But Portland is going to pay for the stadium. And John Fisher will not spend a fucking dime on players. So for them to like average for, the Cavill said a few weeks ago that they're going to start spending money because they're going to start averaging, they're going to get into the top 10, top 8, top 5 of baseball payroll.
They're going to go from 78 million to 120 to 140.
Like, it's not going to happen.
MLB average was like 165
It's
last
not
year.
gonna
That was
happen.
middle of the road.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
165.
And honestly, guys, I just think the John Fisher name, the ownership group, how you treat players, how you treat your alumni, like, is so shitty. Why would any free agents want to sign with this franchise?
They're gonna do their the Hall of Fame, the Oakland A's Hall of Fame this year again. Who's actually showing up for that?
Right.
I mean, I don't even know who's being inducted.
I hate to be that asshole that's an A's fan, but like, I've been saying this for a long time. Like, name a Hall of Fame A's player since I'll say the Billy Bean era, right? Because that's kind of like where the Moneyball era and
late
this
90s,
generation
yeah.
of A's. What did Billy Bean start? I think like 95, 96, something like that.
It was like 97.
So an A's Hall of Famer, and I know like Eric Chavez went in and things like that, but you look at the numbers, he went in, and I love Chavi, and he went in primarily because of the Gold Gloves and things like that. But there's many A's players that are probably going to get into the Ring of Honor, like modern A's players since this Billy Bean era, that really aren't Ring of Honor players. They're just getting in because it's all you fucking got.
Yeah.
Like, there's no players of longevity. You don't even have a player that, like, all of your home run leaders and RBI leaders, if it's not Ricky Henderson, it's all guys that played in like the 20s and the 30s and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Ricky Henderson,
like,
Mark McGuire has a couple of them, and then
like,
fucking
all
Jimmy
your
Fox.
guys, like,
yeah.
like all your guys are in where the apex of the fucking steroid era. You don't even have leaders in home runs from that era.
I think the A's, their all-stars are, most of their baseball cards are in black and white. Like,
exactly, dude.
Hall of Famers, yeah.
Yeah, Hall of Famers, yeah. Are mostly black and white.
Like, the last Hall of Famer, like MLB Hall of Famer that I can remember is Ricky Henderson.
Yeah. I mean, you had
name
like
a player.
You had Frank Thomas at the back end of his career. He had a hell
he's
of
a White
2006.
Sox. He's going.
He's a White
he's going to
Sox.
White
Yeah.
Sox. Yeah.
He's a White Sox. Yeah, that's what I'm getting at. You've had a couple of guys
Mark's
show
going
up at the end.
Mark goes in as a Cardinal. You know what I mean? Like, it's
McGuire,
yeah.
He ain't getting in.
I know he's not, but if he is, but he's going to go in as a Cardinal.
He set the record as a Cardinal.
Yeah.
The next year he got traded.
The very next year.
Yeah.
He was traded in the middle of 97. 98, he goes fucking off.
I think Matt Olson could potentially be a Hall of Famer, but if he is a Hall of Famer, he's probably going in with whatever team he wins a World Series and an MVP or whatever.
So Atlanta.
So it's going to be, it's not going to be an A.
Atlanta's getting the prime years of Matt Olson. So
like you don't
and Murph.
You don't even have a player on the A's that's your all-time leader in hits and home runs and blah 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 just based on longevity.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have that.
Nobody gets a second contract.
Right.
Nobody gets a second contract here. All right. Okay. I mean, this is a horse that we will continue to beat. No matter how dead it is, we are going to be on this story. But as we said in the past, we're going to treat the A's the same way we treat the Cincinnati Reds. If something interesting happens, we'll cover it. But day-to-day stuff, like, reading the scores every week like we do with the Sharks and the Warriors, we're not doing that with the A's this season. Part of this podcast is kind of done, I think. Unless we get a new owner and that new owner promises to keep the team here and start building either on the current site or at Howard Terminal or wherever the hell it ends up being. As long as it's somewhere I can get to on BART with relative ease And I mean, like, I consider walking less than a mile from the BART station relative ease. Like,
Yeah,
so
I feel you,
there
man.
we are. All right. Anything else for the good of the order, gentlemen?
Nope.
All
No,
right,
I
let's-
just need to go take some blood pressure medicine and lower.
yeah,
it
I know,
because
right? Start
spiked.
playing like calming pan flute music or something. I don't know. You've been listening to the SVT podcast. Subscribe on YouTube and hit that bell to get alerts when we go live. Follow us on Instagram and Threads at SVT Sports Pod. Slide into those DMs. Love to interact with you all. Thank you to Mike and Edward and Jacob for being in the chat today.
Thanks, guys.
We love
Thank you.
we love talking with you guys. And we'll see you next time.
And fuck John Fisher.